So good morning, everyone. It's the 7th of February. We're into the second month already. And as always, as you know, when I have these calls, I always strive to pull in some of the lessons that I've been reminded of, or I've gone through or experienced, typically through some mentoring coaching calls that have come up in the previous weeks with people that I'm working with in their Nikken business. And this one is certainly no different, this call today. As I look at the different incentives that we have available right now, they are certainly based on fundamental, critical business building activities, right? This is one of the nice things that I like about network marketing is the compensation plans that we have. We're all independent. We're all free to do what we want. And with that comes liberty, but also with that can create challenge, complexity, confusion if people go, well, I don't know what to do, right? So a compensation plan in many instances is designed to steer people towards the right activity and move them away from the wrong activity. That's why you have certain rewards in place, milestones, key indicators that help you know that you're on the right track, and certain policies, rules, and what have you that keep you off the wrong track. I kind of like that, right? So if we understand the governing principles behind those rules, it certainly makes life easier, and it makes things a little clearer too. The benefit of having the rewards programs that we've got in place in Nikken is it's almost a little bit like a double dip effect. As we go out and build new silvers and help others to do the same, we're going to go out there and strengthen our organization. We'll be paid better, and we'll also get a double reward in the form of the incentive payouts, which is awesome. All right, so as I've looked at this, I had a call the other night with a number of team members that were sharing their goals with me for 2023. And within that, of course, they were focused on the incentives, which is great. It's what we want. And it really became relevant in our conversations, the importance of how many people are we speaking to, right, in order to get the results, right? Because sometimes we can do the right activity, but if we're not doing enough of it, then it's going to get problematic, right? And we'll go, why am I not getting the results? I love this principle that if you can't measure it, you can't manage it, right? But the same holds true with if you don't have enough activity to measure, you can't measure it effectively, right? If you're only doing a little bit, then your numbers can get skewed or misrepresent reality, right? So the more you do, the clearer the data becomes, the easier it is to see the trends and so on. So the issue that I want to discuss today, or the opportunity, I should say, that I want to discuss today is the importance of working with referrals, seeking referrals, gathering them, and also making that your team focus as you work to build and qualify for these incentives, because it certainly makes it easier in developing and achieving developing results, achieving the outcomes that you're after, and so on. Years and years ago, when I was in my 20s, I had the wonderful privilege of working with a great network marketing leader. And as always, I was always picking their brains, asking questions, trying to understand how things work the way they do and how they've achieved their results and success. She taught me a really valuable lesson. She said, Ben, in order to do well in network marketing, you've got to understand this. It's not who you know that counts. It's who they know. Yeah, really interesting point. We all talk about building our contact lists, having a dynamic contact list. But what's really important in that process is understanding that in order to make it dynamic and ever growing, one of the great skills that we can employ to keep it such is to ask for referrals. So I want to discuss today some of the ways that we can ask for referrals, and some of the things that we need to do and be in order to make sure we get good results. Okay. Bear with me one second. My daughter has just popped into the office. I'm going to quickly deliver her to her mother. Give me one sec.
Isn't this reassuring? We can all do this.
Absolutely. He should say, I'm going to show her to you so you can see how she's grown, and then I will take her to her mother. I want to see that child.
That's exactly what I thought too.
Yes.
Under normal circumstances, I would show you, but she just got out of the bath and she's butt naked. So it was one of those parenting moments where Any other time, I'd pop her on my knee and it would work just fine. But in this instance, maybe not so much. I have to say, just as a quick digression, yeah, I mean, you've been with me through the years, you know, as I've had little kids interrupting calls, and you're always wonderfully supportive and encouraging, and I'm grateful for that. It's all part of being a working parent, a stay-at-home parent, and so on, right? It's part of the deal. The worst interruption I ever got was when one of my little boys was being toilet trained, potty trained, and Kim was out, I was on a call, he'd gone to the bathroom, and little kids do this in different ways, right? He would kind of take everything off to go to the toilet, right? Which is just what little boys do sometimes. Anyway, he goes to the toilet, but he needs me to clean him up. And he comes around into my office, stark naked, bends over, bum in the air. He's like, "Daddy, wipe my bum." Right? And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." That's like, what kind of interruption is that? So anyway, you get all sorts, don't you? It's the joy of parenting this age. So anyway, so as we were talking, referrals. Yeah, so it's not who you know, it's who they know that matters. A really important principle. And that to me is a great reassurance message that we can share with the people that we bring into the business that are brand new. There are many people that go, yeah, if they look to top leaders, they go, but look at all these leaders that they've got in their organization. I don't know people like them, right? How am I going to achieve what they've achieved? We want it to feel confidently duplicable. Well, understand, it's not who we know, it's who they know that matters, right? And when you help them kind of dig in to multiple degrees of separation, how many people they're connected to, things start to change in a really positive way. I saw this in action a number of years ago in another MLM company that I was in, which just was a great story that illustrated the point. They had one of their second biggest leader had joined the company, and he had shot up real fast through the ranks and just kind of taken the whole world by storm in that company, right? And it was impressive. Anyway, I was at the global convention, and his sponsor is up there telling the story because everyone wanted to know, man, how did you manage to find Rafael Rojas? Right, this guy is just incredible. He's changing the world. All of the top people in the top leadership groups, it's like 95% of them are all his team. Right, this guy's just blowing up. How did you find him? And it was fascinating, the story that he told, when he said, well, he said, I reached out to a friend of mine to see if he was interested in joining the business, and he wasn't. And you know, in summarizing the process, he goes, so I said, okay, well, respect that, you know, and appreciate you being honest. Is there anyone that you know that you think might be? Right. And like I said, I'm kind of paraphrasing the conversation. We'll get into the details of approaches in a sec. Is there anyone that you know that might be? And he goes, well, you could try this person. So he reaches out to that person, the referral that he was given. He invites them, he makes the connection, he establishes the rapport, gets to the point of invitation. Are you interested? No, thank you. It's not for me. Okay, well, is there anyone that you know that might be? He asks the referral for a referral, right? The person gives him a referral, very good of him, right? So he goes to that person, goes through the same process, gets to the invite. Is there anyone that you know? Are you interested? No, I'm not. Is there anyone that you know that might be? The person gives him a referral. He goes on through this process, I think like 4 or 5 times, where he's getting a referral. They say no. He asks for a referral. They say no. He asks again, right? And he goes through, and he gets this other person. He finally gets to this point where the person says yes, and the person goes on to become the equivalent of a raging, successful Royal Diamond in his business, right? And the whole message there is, you've got to learn to ask for referrals. And it's not just that one level deep. Yeah. Everywhere we go, whatever we're doing, we should be looking for referrals. So I wanted to make a note of some things that I think can help us to get effective in doing this. First of all, it starts with mindset. I think we always need to be in an attitude of finding. When we're teaching people, when we're delivering presentations, at the end of any presentation that we're giving, it should always end with an invitation. The invitation should be not just to join, but to come back with someone. Is there someone that you know that you'd want to bring with you to our next meeting? So we always start there. With a new customer, New customers are an excellent source of finding new customers. So again, think of when we're prospecting, when we're talking to new people, when we're showing the plan, when we're doing ABCs, they're great opportunities to be asking for referrals. When we're introducing new customers, when we've got long-standing loyal customers that are auto ship customers that have been doing this for a while and they're buying month after month, year after year, should be great sources of referrals for us also. We need to be in that mindset of always seeing the opportunity and always taking action. It's one thing to see it, but the action comes when we extend the invitation. All right, so I think all of us can do pretty well, pretty quick at recognizing the opportunities that are around us. We're great at talking about it with those that we love within the NECAN community. We've got to reach outside of that and get those referrals. The invitations come, demonstrate the action. So one, always be in that mindset. Two, you also want to teach your team members, everyone that you're partnered with, all of your business builders, to be in the same mindset. Can you imagine what it would be like if everyone in your organization, or even half, even a third, were in the constant attitude of asking for referrals and generating new leads, new appointments, new connections, new opportunities all the time? That would be powerful, wouldn't it? The impact that could have on your business would be significant. So don't make it a me thing, make it an us thing. That's huge. And like I said, this, I think, is imperative for anyone that is serious about achieving any of these new incentives that we've introduced in NECAN this year. Okay, really, really important. Because what we're seeing here in this year's incentive program, it's really focused on fundamental network marketing activities. Yeah, it's really about team building and organization building. And that's where you get the long-term payoffs that everyone comes to network marketing for, right? So really important. A couple of things that really help in getting positive responses for referrals when we're asking. Being trustworthy. Do what you say you're going to do. When you make a promise to someone, keep it. Be honorable. Be the kind of person that someone would want to help. Yeah, I think that's really important. Great referral success doesn't simply come from our ability to spot an opportunity to extend a clear and effective invitation. It also comes as a consequence of who we are and what we are known for. People have often said, haven't they? It's not what you know, it's who you know that matters, right? We've heard that before. Well, the truth of the matter is that's not 100% correct. It's not who you know that matters. It's who knows you and what you're known for. Yeah. So it's a reciprocal process there, isn't it? Yes, it's who they know plays a big part, but also in that equation is what are you known for? Who knows you? Because we can know a lot of people, but if they don't have that relationship or rapport or mutual respect for us, then referrals will fall flat pretty quick. So recognize that effective referral development really is a byproduct of being a great business person. It means that you show up on time. It means that you deliver on your promises. It means that you offer excellent customer service. It means that people know that you care, that they know that you're interested and invested in them. You're supportive, you're engaging with them, not just for the sake of sales or business activity, but you're building genuine relationships with people and so on. That type of behavior and activity consistently will lead to your advantage in times of reciprocation when it matters. Okay, and again, we do this not because it's clever or it's a sales strategy. We do it because we're authentic, good people. Yeah, that's what humans being more is all about. When you put the HBM philosophy at the center of what you do in NECAN, it permeates all of your business activities in a positive way. Yeah, so I think that is something serious to consider. How do I show up when I'm representing NECAN? Yeah, and of course, it's public behavior, private behavior. It's not just what you do in public that matters. It's how you live in private that really kind of permeates your public persona. Yeah, so make sure that we are sincere and genuine in every facet, because it really does start to come out in beautiful ways when we least expect it. in a public setting. So the next point that I would say is create a strategy for it. And we're going to break this down just a little bit. So when I say create a strategy for it, what does that mean? Let's look at some bullet points for how to make this an integral part of our business building activity. Because if we're strategizing, at the core of that, what that means is we're building a plan of action around this activity. So here are some steps that we can add to help having this plan of action get put in place. One, that we can be mindful, of course, of the times where it's going to occur in advance. For example, ABCs, presentations, customer follow-up, so on. So we take the time initially to document all of the different times and places where an opportunity for referral acquisition can be found. Know where that will occur. Where has it happened in the past? Where do other people do it successfully? How can I integrate this into what I'm doing? And start to map it out. Get specific, write it down, and be cognizant of it in advance. Preparation precedeth power. Email campaigns. I know many of us have email campaigns that we send out to our customers, to our team members, or what have you, to prospects, to our mailing lists. Many of us work in that capacity to build and to nurture our contact list. So if you're using email campaigns, look at ways that you can integrate opportunities to ask for referrals in that space. Okay, that's a great way. And we'll talk about how we ask and what we offer before we end this call. Follow-up effort. I've always said that effective follow-up, we've all heard fortunes in the follow-up, but along with that, timely follow-up is really important. One of the ways that I've always taught to follow up effectively is to plan to follow up, meaning at the end of a presentation or when you've extended an invitation to anyone to do something, it's in that moment that you say, I would love to know how you get on with this activity, right? For example, watching this recording, participating in this webinar, coming along to this event, listening to this presentation, speaking to my upline, what have you. I would love to know how you get on. Can we arrange a time after you've had that experience where we can touch base for just a minute and you can share with me your experience, right? So you plan to follow up, and that helps follow up to happen in the first instance, right? So planning to follow up is great. A part of the follow up should always involve, one, making sure that they've kept their commitment. That's part of the process, right? Sharing your response, sharing your feelings, but then when they've had a positive experience, ask for a referral. Who do you know? I'm so glad that you've had this great experience and that it resonated. I'm glad that you could see that the power of what this opportunity is presenting. But when you think about these feelings that this has given you, these feelings of confidence, excitement, anticipation of great things, who do you know that would have similar feelings to an opportunity like this? Would you invite them to join us in our next meeting? See how that happens? And then, of course, if they are not interested, they say, thank you, but no thank you. I read it, I watched it, I listened, I attended. It's not for me. After you've gone through the resolve concerns, deal with objections process, you can still ask for a referral and say, because if you've managed that with credibility, with courteousness, with respect, with authenticity, you've still left with a very positive relationship, haven't you? Right? Because they're still feeling like their feelings are appreciated, they're being heard and listened to, and they're being respected. So after you've helped them leave with that feeling, before you go, you say, hey, look, before we go, I totally respect that this isn't for you. Would you mind, when you think about what we've gone through here, is there anyone that you know that really helps, that would feel like this might be for them? Would you mind putting me in touch? Would you mind talking about it? Would you mind sharing the details with me? This is a great example. So Dave, I can see you got a question that's popping up here. Can you give us a personal example of using this and the results? Of course, Dave, because I do like to teach by example, not by theory. So yes, so I can give you an example of a guy that I've been working with through Facebook. And he's a great example because we connected originally. I can't remember if it was him that reached out and connected with me or I reached out and connected with him. And he is an art dealer in the UK and a great sales guy and a wonderful entrepreneur. And we originally got talking about just business and life. That's kind of how the relationship began. So as a consequence of those conversations, it moved from Facebook conversation and chat to picking up a phone, having a conversation, and staying on the phone, just talking and building relationships, resolving some of his life issues. That's kind of where the relationship all began. He was having a hard time in his job. He found it frustrating. He was stressed by his boss. The sales targets that he had were frustrating. And we ended up talking on the phone because his interest was, how do I get out of this mess, right? And he was respecting some of the feedback that I was giving in the conversations. And so we just said, hey, let's just pick up the phone and talk. Let's talk about this. So we had a great conversation. It was about 9 o'clock at night when this happened. And we talked for about 30 minutes. As a consequence of that conversation, it led to an opportunity to present Nikan as a solution. And as we went through the conversation, was he interested? Yes, it was great. He signed up, he joined the business. It was wonderful. He became one of my frontline. But in the process of that conversation, I went through exactly what we just talked about, almost word for word, because it's the language that I use all the time. So as we finished, and he's expressing interest, he's wanting to learn more. It's like, Graham, when you think about everyone that you know in this space, you know, of entrepreneurship, because you've run your own businesses, you've been an entrepreneur, you've worked in sales, you've got lots of people that you work with all the time that are ambitious and hungry and enthusiastic. When you look at all of those people, is there anyone that you know that would be interested in joining us and supporting what we're doing here and partnering up, being a part of this movement that we're developing? He worked on his list. We did follow-up, and he presented two different people to me where we had three-way calls and helped them in getting involved with Nikan. One of them joined, one of them did not. But yes, the follow-up strategy works. So real simple example. Like I said, it's almost verbatim, that approach that I use. When you think of the feelings that you've had, as we've talked about this, the reasons that you're saying yes, who do you know that wants and connects with those types of feelings? That they want that opportunity, they want that ability to feel confidence in their future. They want that peace of mind, that assurance that they're in control and that they're taking action in a positive and constructive way. So, was that follow-up or business building? I would say it's both. Ask the question. Unmute your line, Dave. Unmute your line.
Sorry about that. I had three things going at the same time. So the question is it sounded like what you were doing was helping a new distributor build his business.
Yeah.
Which is a natural response to when you get somebody started. What in the referral aspect, in the sense of typically it's mostly with customers that are buying a product, right? Is that correct? Because in the business, you got to qualify them to see if they're interested to be in that business. So that would be that's what I was looking for, was the example of
the differentiation.
Customer.
Sure, yeah, because referral, I guess the way I'm positioning it in my head is it's the same behavior and activity, right? So you're talking to a customer. Customers aren't interested in building an organization, but they can certainly be a source of generating more customers. Business builders bring in a new prospect that joins the business as a distributor. Of course, they're interested in building an organization. So the referrals that come in are really, to Dave's point, it's helping get them on board and moving in the right direction. So that whole process of bringing people in is getting them started. It's the same fundamental philosophy or activity. Yeah. It's, you don't just stop at bringing someone in. Thank you very much for your time. It's all about reaching out and engaging more people that way. So yeah, business builders, you don't ask someone for a referral that's a distributor and plop them under yourself. that's not the activity at all. It's like, what the heck was that? Right? I'm not working with you again, right? So that's not the activity at all. That's not the Ruth, you got a question?
I just want to comment real quick on the referral. For me, the biggest struggle in most of my time with Nikan is to be comfortable asking for the referral. It wasn't until when COVID hit, when I felt desperate, that I need to say, do you know anybody that's interested that you want to share this with? And now I've gotten finally comfortable, but I can But I tell you, at the very beginning, for the first 15 years, it was really a struggle for me to
Yeah.
ask for referral. I
You-
could not get it out. So I want to say that you got to just practice it. You just got to keep asking until it becomes second nature, and then it just becomes who you are.
And what I would add to that, just before I flip over to Dave, what I would add to that is, when if it's a new activity, then it's going to feel foreign, uncomfortable, and scary, right? But one thing that will help, aside from practice will make it better. Oh, sorry, if we could mute our lines, that would be awesome. So practice certainly makes it better, but if you just Google referral marketing, just go online and you'll see. Okay, here we go. There we go. Sorted.
The host muted you. Alert. Audio now muted. Alert.
Okay. I think. Okay, I'm going to mute all. There we go, and then you can unmute when you're ready to speak. Okay, so there we go. Yeah, if you Google referral marketing, one thing that you will see, which is a great validation message, is that this strategy for business building is not unique to NECAN. It is not unique to network marketing. It is a fundamental best practice for all businesses, right? It's just the way we operate now. And the world has evolved so much around this that some people won't even watch a Netflix show unless it's got a certain amount of ratings, recommendations from other people. That, in its very simplest terms, is kind of referral marketing. We govern what we watch based on that type of stuff. What books we buy, if it's got great reviews, we buy it. It's referral, referral, referral. So if we can recognize the normalcy of this activity, it will hopefully give us a bit of encouragement as we practice. Dave.
I was just going to say, when I grew up in the insurance industry, we were trained to do this. Every time we closed a sale, got a customer, it was a standard practice. Who else do you know would like the benefits of this kind of a policy, and so on and so forth? That's mainly for the retail aspect of developing customers. But like you said, it's every industry does this. Who do you know? And if you just do it enough times, like everything else, you'll get the results. Anyway, good job.
Yeah, really good, really good. We've got a few hands going up, which is awesome. Yoko.
I just wanted to add that in my particular case, throughout my whole career, it's been I get the referrals from the people I love, and I end up with great people. Okay, nice people like them. Instead of going into cold market and introducing myself, sometimes there is a horror,
Yeah. And I would say, just before we jump onto the next raised hand, I think this is, to Dave's point, this is customer acquisition, referrals. It's straightforward in that process, right? When we apply it to distributors, it comes under a slightly different umbrella called team building, right? Because you're getting people started. You know what I think is awesome is helping people understand this principle and engaging them this way before they join, so that as they join the business, they can immediately jump in to the right activities, get some results under their belt, and immediately feel a sense of success, right? I think that's a great way to get someone to executive as soon as possible, have them signing people up in line with them so that when they join, other people are joining with them. When they're coming to meetings, don't ever have a guest come alone, have them bring a friend, right? And when that friend is interested, boy, does that lock in your prospective business partner, because otherwise, fear of missing out. Wait a sec, my friend's interested. I don't want to say no to this when someone else is already saying yes, and they could be part of my team, right? So it's a great way to lock them in. Paul.
Yeah, the hardest time to ask for the referral is when the person has just, following on Ruth's point, when the person has just said to you, well, I'm not interested in the product or the business. But it doesn't matter, because even if it's 1 in 10, the server who asks people if they want dessert, she doesn't care if they've said 9 people have said that they don't, because if she gets, I don't know, 7 or 8 people who want dessert every day out of the 60 people that she serves, we shouldn't feel worth asking at that point when you've just been rejected.
Yeah.
Or not you, but the opportunity.
And I have to say on that point, Paul, when you recognize, because that's a good example, when you're at a restaurant and the waiter or waitress upsells you on your meal, yeah, and says, hey, you just bought this, this is a great accompaniment. Do you want to add this to your meal? And we've all experienced that. They're kind of expanding your reach there a little bit, right? It's great activity. I was out to dinner with a friend once who was he was a master recruiter, right? Everywhere he went, he just signed everyone up. It was incredible how he did it. And so we're out at lunch, we're at a restaurant, and the waiter does exactly what Paul's talking about and upsells him on his order, right? And he goes, you know what? Respect. I really like that skill. He says, you just got me to order more. And your boss must be really proud of you if you're doing this all the time, right? You're great for business. And the guy kind of smiles, kind of, thank you very much. He's complimenting him. He's giving him a pat on the back. And he goes, you know what? He says, I'm in town because I'm looking for some new business partners. We're building something pretty cool here. You're exactly the kind of person that I'm looking for. Would you mind just, if you're interested, if you're open to ideas, you don't have to quit your job, just jot your number down on our bill. If you're interested, leave us your name. We'll get in touch. We'll look after you. And it'd be a great conversation. Well, the guy is so flattered, so honored that this guy's coming in from out of town, sees his great skills, likes it. And what happens? He signs him up, right? And he will just do that time and time again. And when you're looking for it, it's that first point that I mentioned, when you're looking for the opportunity, you will see it in an abundance of different places, to ask for referrals, to generate leads, to make connections. It's all about building the contact list and just working that effectively. And Barbara.
Yes, I just wanted to say and add that sometimes if you plant the seed ahead of time, it's easier, and I disguise it a bit by not really asking for a referral, but who, as you're learning about these technologies and we go through this process, you're going to think of people that might be able to use this or might really need these technologies or these things. And right now it's perfect for me because I'm new to the area and I'm really looking to, reach out there and find people that, or might want to collaborate with me. So as I'm either demonstrating, the precision or the different things that I have, they're going to think of names. And so so planting the seed ahead of time helps. And then remembering to ask, now, did you think of anybody that might have the shoulder issue like yourself? Or, and get the referral that way. But planting the seed so that they're thinking of people automatically has them go into that step. And then you could take it one step further, like you said, Ben. If I talk to that person and I'm there prior to, and Leo's really good at this, prior to signing them up, we might want to get back with her and let's talk to her and see if she might want to do this with us, right? This business, if that's what, if it's a consultant thing, and then you're leveraging that person's interest as well because of the fear of loss, but more of the, I want to come along with you, not necessarily fear of loss, but I want to be a part of this. Let's do this and see. But, I didn't want you, Susie, to miss out on so-and-so because they are coming on board and leverage it that way and bring them on together.
Yeah, really good, really good. And to your point, Barb, as well, sometimes getting referrals or helping someone bring in their first new business partner as we're team building, sometimes that's an event based on where they're at and the emotion, the energy, the connection. Sometimes it's a process. Yeah, like you said, sometimes it's planting a seed, sometimes it's nurturing it, sometimes it's in the follow-up, sometimes it's in a touch point further down the road. It's multiple contacts lead to yes in a typical scenario. Occasionally it happens pretty quick, but more often than not, it can be a process versus an event. Gloria, last point, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, I learned this whole concept years ago when I joined a networking group. And this was taught to us that, and I still use it because I belong to a networking group, but there's so many online that the principle holds. When I'm with these group of people, they are not the door sales. I look at them and I learned this because I'm a visual person. If they
Oh, is it just
now ask, who do they know?
Yeah. Was it just me, or were you breaking up then, Gloria? Did everyone else? I saw Yoko nodding. Could everyone hear you okay? They could. Okay. My line was unstable. So I missed a good chunk of what you said, Gloria, but I did hear you say, you know, asking them, who do you know? Right? Seeing them as, what was the language that you used? Recognizing that it's not necessarily them, but it's.
If they're a door that you're opening at first sale.
Yeah.
If they've said no, thank you, now they're a window.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So as we pull this together, there's great feedback, and it seems like, of course, and it's no surprise, this is not a new concept, is it? We're not teaching, you know, something that is revolutionary and new. However, if we practice it all a little more and get a little better, that we can have a significant impact for good collectively as we do that, right? And that's really what I wanted to stress and emphasize today. And one thing that I found is the more in love I am with what I'm doing, the more this becomes natural. Yeah, it becomes a natural extension of the emotion that I feel, right? So to that end, as you strategize and work with your teams, understand that getting them to do this is not always about a reminder, or we're not doing it because we didn't think to do it, or I didn't know any better, right? Sometimes it's about connecting them emotionally so that they want to. A wise leader once said, the great challenge of leadership is not in teaching people what is true, it's in getting them to love it. Yeah, and that's really what it's all about. We know that this is a good principle to practice. We know it's the right behavior. The real critical task is for all of us to fall in love with doing it. And the best way to do that is a step at a time, practice, and look for the wins. Recognize the successes and break it down. There's lots of ways that you can recognize success. One is getting a yes. You can also recognize the success in simply doing the activity, being mindful of it, and getting it done when it was uncomfortable and a little nerve-wracking. That's still a win, right? Because you conquered yourself in that moment, right? There's lots of different things that you're measuring, but let's measure success, look for the wins, and when you start to see the results come in, you will love it more and more, because it will give evidence to you that this is a principle of success. And when you see that coming into your business, you'll love it more, you'll do it more, you'll teach it more, and it will catch on with greater fervor. So thank you all very much. I look forward to seeing you next week. And as always, continue to reach out for the ABCs and the one-on-ones. Take care, everyone. See you later.
Now, Ben, are you still staying monthly, or are you going back to weekly?
I'm still doing monthly, the first Tuesday of every month. First Tuesday.
Okay. Well, happy Valentine's to you and Kim.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.